All right. As you guys can see, we're back to the kitchen counter. Welcome back to the kitchen counter. Also, I know it really looks as though maybe I've bought this for this, but no. I definitely grew up playing video games and wanting to make a YouTube channel, and did make a YouTube channel when I was younger and stuff like that. So I've had this thing for a long time, for very nerdy reasons that I'm extremely proud of in a weird way. But welcome back, man. Obviously by the episode title you can tell that we're talking about gratitude, but hey, welcome to episode 8. We're kind of trucking along. We're kind of doing our thing right now. Very exciting. As you can see, I've gone back to this microphone. Why? I don't know. I just kind of felt like it. I thought it'd be good. Trying out some new recording software when it comes to audio. Obviously, last episode, the whole thing with Nick kind of happened. It was a huge ordeal. Very upsetting because... also, it makes it sound like I got in a fight with Nick in the episode. No, I just mean the audio was kind of messed up, but I figured it out. I kind of knew what it was when I was editing. I just haven't found a new way around it, but I think I did. I just have to get a new mic. Whatever. You guys don't care. Logistics, I say. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about gratitude, and that is extremely exciting because the reason I chose gratitude is because it's something that I feel like I've talked about throughout, but I've talked about it really sparingly. I've mentioned the importance of gratitude, but I haven't delved into gratitude, if that makes sense. I haven't really sat down and talked about why it's important. Obviously, with this new setup right now, I still have my coffee. I don't have my Bible on me. I'm going strictly kind of on my notes, and I have verses in here. I have a verse in here that we're going over. Excuse me. I'm telling you, I have to stop drinking coffee before we do these because they give me, gets that heartburn. Not to date this podcast, but it is snowing today, so it is a winter wonderland currently happening outside my window, and I honestly thought about recording outside somewhere, finding a spot. And then I was like, dude, I'd be so miserable, and for what? And I'm not trying to live miserable if I don't have to. You know what I mean? What's the point of living miserable if you just simply do not have to? But also, this is the most podcasty setup that I've had so far. I have the boom arm, the mic, the coffee, and the MacBook going. But no, let's go ahead and kind of hop in. Like I've said before, the action of gratefulness or gratitude requires the discipline of awareness, and that's hard. My biggest disconnect for a long time was the thought that I had somehow caused every good or some of the good things, most of the good things that have happened in my own life, that I had caused those good things. Not all of them, but a lot of them. But and to that point, I am sure that I did some of them, but some of them, now that I look back, I really recognize that I couldn't have, and that I didn't, and I fully believe that that the Lord did, and so with the point of the podcast is for me to be vulnerable, dump some emotions, and it's like a video diary. I know I've said it a million times, but I kind of need to keep reminding myself because I don't want to stray away from what I feel like my vision for it has been, and I want to stay true to what I believe the Lord put on my heart initially when it comes to making this. And so I need to remind myself I gotta allow myself to dig a little deeper. I don't want this just to turn into me preaching. As much as it kind of is that, it's not. I'm supposed to give myself points to think through and to talk through, but I'm not making a sermon and bringing it to you guys. Also, please let me know if you like the interview style, the conversation style episodes. I really like doing that with Nick, and honestly, I'm going to keep doing it because I really like it now that I think about it. But I do love feedback. Feedback is extremely important and extremely helpful. And so good or bad, like criticism, good or bad. Well, you know what I mean? Constructive criticism, feedback, good or bad. But no, I need to remind myself to get a little deeper, because that's what it is. I really do want to thank you guys for allowing me this opportunity, and I've had a lot of people reach out, and I've had a lot of support, and I can't be more appreciative or grateful. I feel so overwhelmed by the love and support of a project that I started out of an idea of wanting to really bring more attention to the mental health aspect of the Bible. And really showing like it is okay to struggle with these problems and still have a loving and fulfilling and rich life connected with the Lord, relationship with the Lord. And so thank you. Back into gratefulness. Like I said, my biggest disconnect for a long time was that I thought that I caused a lot of, or most, or just some, not just some, but like all, basically, essentially, most of, if not all, of the good things in my own life. Like I had made decisions that led me down this path, and that isn't not true. I did make decisions that led me down that path. But that's not that's not the point. I'm sure I am a firm believer. We talked a little bit about this, and I won't be talking much about this, but I don't believe that everything happens for a reason. I believe that everything that does happen holds an opportunity, but not that everything that happens does have a reason. And so with that comes the fact that like I'm sure that I have somewhere along the way made a decision for my benefit, solo. But looking back at like if I were to make a list, if I somehow remembered every good decision I've ever made or every beneficial decision I ever made, and I made a list, I would attribute probably I'm definitely in the minority. You know what I mean? Like I'm definitely not punching more than God. You know what I mean? If it was boxing, God's winning it's not a split decision. God's winning. The heavy hitter's winning. Excuse my sip. This felt very appropriate for the day that take me to the trail. I'm maybe on cup number 4 today, which is not a lot. Praise God. 4 is a lot for a normal standard, I'd say. But a lot of times when it's really cold outside, when it's snowy, and like I had work at 6 this morning, like I'll get a cup of coffee knocked out before I get to work. I'll drink 2 at work, and I'll drink 1 when I get back. That's 4 before it's 3 p.m. And so I've been at home for a little while, and it's whatever. But no, my biggest disconnect is that I caused some of that. So I wanted to look at Job today, or as Kanye West once said, back when I thought Job was a job. Man, that goes crazy. Job, can we talk? I know 2 episodes ago I talked about worship, and I said that I was going to get into a little into what people play and like the preconceived notions of church and stuff. I will be talking about Kanye. I'll be talking about a few artists, but whatever. Going into Job 121, Job said, Job 121, it says, he said, naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will return there. The Lord gives, and the Lord takes away. May the name of the Lord be blessed. Now, if you're remembering Job with me, Job had just lost all of his livestock, his children, and all of his crops, as well as his servants. Let's be really honest with ourselves, and let me be really honest, and this is extremely obvious. If I were in Job's shoes, I will do something that I've done for much less. I would have gone to God and been like, hey, to be honest, bro, this feels like a slap in the face. Not very cool. Love Graydon. and this goes to what I try and bring back around every episode. The biggest thing that's ever helped me is learning to bring everything to God, good and bad, especially the bad. Especially the bad. I fully believe that just as Christians we're supposed to celebrate with each other and mourn with each other, you are supposed to do that with the Lord. Celebrate with the Lord and mourn with the Lord. He knows, by the way, bro. He knows. He's like locked in with you. He is there too. What do you think he's there for? Do you think he's just there to be there? I'm talking to myself. Do you think he's just there to like hang out? He is not watching you the same way that like I put on the golf channel and just like do something else on my laptop and pass it. Like God isn't passively looking up every 20 minutes to see what's going on. He knows. He's locked in. And so Job's sitting there and saying, naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will return there. The Lord gives and the Lord takes away. May the name of the Lord be blessed. That's what's getting me. I can sit here all day and say, the Lord gives and the Lord takes away. I know that. But to have everything taken away and been like, well, I mean, the Lord gives and the Lord takes away. Also, may the Lord's name be blessed. See, that's what's crazy to me. May the Lord's name be blessed is what's actually driving me nuts. That was an iPad. An iPad just fell from a chair. And I'm not going to lie to you. I can't tell if I was just shaking the ground because I was getting amped and I was moving, or if I'm, a demon is roaming in here, or the spirits in the room. I'm going to go with the spirits in the room because this is crazy. I won't lie to y'all. I put that iPad in the very middle of the seat. I don't know how it slid and fell. I'm not quite sure. Moving on. May the name of the Lord be blessed. You know what I'm saying? God's like, you're tempting me. Don't do that. And so Job lost all of his livestock, children, and crops. I'm doing the verse one more time. He said, naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will return there. The Lord gives and the Lord takes away. May the name of the Lord be blessed. Guys, lock in with me for a second. Think about this. Think about big picture, okay? Life is a gift. Duh. Love is a gift. People are gifts. Things are gifts. Peace is a gift. Joy is a gift. Some things, let me see what I put exactly. Some things that I think that I just have always been or have always had are actually gifts. But we as humans are just so self-centered sometimes. We don't realize what we have achieved versus what we have been given. Are you hearing me right now? Sometimes we don't. That rocked my world when I wrote it, and it's not even that crazy. Sometimes we don't realize what we have achieved versus what we have given. And I know as someone, I know as someone who's probably like already gone through this mental process, I think the most mature Christians and the people who have been in the faith forever, their whole life, and have really matured in it, and whatever, the most devout and have this really close relationship. Sometimes, as someone who has been devoted to the Lord for a decent chunk of time now, I need really, really easy reminders. Like, I need to be reminded of things that are extremely simple. And so when I sit down and try and reflect on Scripture and on an overarching idea, and I write something like, sometimes we don't realize what we have achieved versus what we have been given, that is so helpful. Almost just screamed good, but I was like, dude, you can't hype yourself up that much. But I'm not trying to hype myself up because I don't, look, this is a gift. Our words are a gift. I don't think we fully understand the extent of what is a gift. Like, I don't think we understand what is a gift. I didn't put the verse in here, but I think it might have been John. Joel says it every. I did not mean to roll my eyes. But I'm rolling my eyes at myself, being like, dude, Joel says it every Sunday. God gives great gifts. The God who gives good gifts and great gifts. God who gives the gift of abundant life. I'm going through the list again. Life is a gift. Love is a gift. People are gifts. Things are gifts. Peace is a gift. Joy is a gift. Some things that we think we have just always been or always have had are actually gifts. We are just so self-centered that sometimes we don't realize what we have achieved versus what we have been given. You're basically reading my journal, my diary, whatever you want to call it. What do we call it? As a man, what do I need to call? It's a diary. I have a journal where I would consider some pages a diary. You know what I mean? Like it's a journal. It is a journal. Some pages open to the public, couldn't care less. Some of those pages are a diary. Because those are from me and the Lord. Me and the Lord get to see my diary, but anybody can see my journal. I don't care. My journal's just Bible notes. Half of it's electronic, half of it's on a piece of paper or in a notebook. Why do we do that? Okay, here's a real thing. Do we think that a journal on like an app is easier than one on paper or not? Because I'm going to be real. Sometimes I be having so much to say that writing it just makes my hand hurt. And I'm like, man, God, I'm not going to lie to you. My trials and tribulations are stacking up. You know what I mean? Like, that's the worst thing that's happening, Lord. What are we doing? But sometimes I type so much that like my computer dies. Either way, a lot of gratitude and awareness become available through simply praying and reading our Bible. Guys, it's easy. It's not easy. That's the whole point of this podcast. Guys, it's not easy, by the way. Like I said, episode 1, I could say it every episode, and it would still be the truth. I suck at reading my Bible. I'm awful at it. I am so much better at doing prayers, living in prayer throughout the day, than I am my Bible. I'm still not great at living in prayer throughout my day at all. I still have like the problem with doing the whole vending machine prayer thing, and that's not cool. You know what I mean? Using God like hey God, I need peace, thank you. B7, fruit of the Spirit or something like, whatever. And so, reading your Bible, I'll explain. When you start shifting your focus into I want a relationship with my Lord mindset, instead of I need to be a perfect Christian mindset, that is when real life change happens. And that is what opens your eyes. Because here's the thing. Look, there's steps. I forgot that thing. There's levels to this, baby. That's from a movie, I think. There's levels to this, baby. And there's levels to this. Are ogres and your relationship with the Lord the same? Like onions? It has layers? Yes. There's steps. Doesn't make it. Sorry, dude. Somebody's yelling at me. It doesn't make it like it's not like putting together a nightstand or a coffee table. You know what I mean? It's not like that. It's not like it's a thing from IKEA. It's more like I don't know. It is kind of like a how-to manual. It's kind of like a step-by-step manual to building. Maybe it is. You know what? I think it's like building a coffee table or a nightstand or a bedstand from IKEA. Cause look. Hear me out. Live with me in this moment. If gratitude and awareness become available through simply praying and reading our Bible, okay. When you start reading your Bible, that leads to you learning the character of God, which in turn makes your prayer life a lot more fruitful, because when you learn the character of God, you learn his responses, if that makes sense. You're learning who he is. It's the same way you learn like your friend's sense of humor, the way that they'll respond. Like, have you guys ever seen those TikToks where the husband will say something mean to the wife, and then he'll say what she's like, her response back to him will be as she's saying it. And it's like bam, 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 like 4 in a row. It's kind of like when you get to know somebody so well, you know what they're gonna say, and but more importantly, you know how they're gonna say it. Listening to God is is a lot more about like our perception of tone. What is my thought versus what is his thought? What is my intuition versus what is his intuition? I'm big into the whole spirit-led intuition. I'm big into the whole spirit-led prayer. Like I love sitting, and Paul says the Spirit intercedes on our behalf to speak to the Lord, even in our moanings and groanings when we don't know how to say what we're trying to say. Say what you need to say. John Mayer. Praise. You know what I'm saying? That him and Kanye are bringing it. And so the day I read, it's in Romans. I need to find it. I feel like it's like Romans 12 something. I don't know. Wow, I should just not give the reference if I don't know it immediately. But Paul wrote that the Spirit intercedes on our behalf in our moanings and groanings when we know not what to say, because the Spirit knows our heart. And that has changed my prayer life so much. But interacting with the Spirit so often has made me more confident in the way that what I would call my Spirit-led intuition to be. So the more I interact with the Spirit in that way, the more I can pray, be like, God, what do I need to do here? And my intuition after that will be what I would say is more like a Spirit-led intuition, a God-led intuition, whatever. I feel more confident making that decision with my intuition now, because that's how I feel like I receive most of my information and confirmation from the Lord. And so that's my big point with I'm going to repeat this. When you start shifting your focus into an I want a relationship with my Lord mindset instead of the I need to be a perfect Christian mindset, is when you start having your eyes open. Now, here's what really needs to be this needs to be said in this moment. A lot of people would hear something like get rid of the I need to be a perfect Christian mindset. That's not exactly what I'm saying. To be Christian is to want to be Christ-like. Point blank period. This is cold now, by the way. I'm moving that. But when you have a relationship with the Lord, you're going to want to go hang out at church. You're going to want to hang out with church people. You're going to stop wanting to do earthly things. Not super easily. I would honestly say extremely difficult is how I would describe it. It is still difficult. When you are deciding to change yourself and try and become this new creation, the old you doesn't like that. Your flesh does not like the idea of being tossed back. You know what I mean? The flesh isn't like, no, this is cool. Actually, I'm cool with doing this. Like, I'll just get out of here. We live in a sinful world, in a sinful culture, and a lot of us naturally have a sinful mindset. All of us, because our nature and our nurture sinful. Now, nurture, you could argue if you're raised in church. Yeah, that's not the point of this one, though. Striving to understand God's character as a father, a friend, or a provider, those are my big three, is what leads you to real life change that opens your eyes to what all he has done for you. This is the awareness I'm talking about. Guys, remember what this is. Remember what this is. This is my diary. This is like my self-reflection right now. So I don't want you to think that I'm preaching at you. I want you to know that you're sitting with me and I'm telling you stuff that I've been struggling with. This is stuff that I struggle with. These are ideas that I'm working through. These are things that I feel so strongly about because I see such a weakness in myself in most of these topics. Like, these are things that I think about a lot. These are things that take up, as the kids would say, rent-free in my head. They live rent-free in my head. I think about these things. If you know me in IRL, if you know me in real life, you know that I constantly bring up random topics, church-related, not church-related, Jesus-related, not Jesus-related, whatever. But just like how those pop in my head, these pop in my head. And then I sit with them and I think about them and I meditate on them. And then this podcast has been such a blessing because it allows me the ability to think through them and allow others to like understand my process and to hopefully help others who have been in situations similar to me. I here's what's so funny to me right now. I will look back in who knows how many years, days, weeks, months. I'm hopefully thinking years, and be like, man, my mindset's changed on some. Like my mindset has changed from some of these things. I have developed as a person and as a son of God, and as a Christian. Like my relationship with the Lord has opened my eyes to new things, and I hope I do. We are ever evolving people. You change over your lifetime, as you should. You shouldn't come out like, I don't think you come out the womb and you're perfect. Like, well, you know what I mean? Like you don't come out the womb, grow up in a sinful world and go, I don't really think I ever need to change. You need to develop. And that's why having that focus on building a relationship with the Lord is so important, because being around it, being in a church and being active in a community that loves the Lord is really cool. It is extremely hard to do that consistently if you are not focusing on your relationship with the Lord. I have done the going to church and going through the motions and just whatever. Like I did it for a long time. I went because I loved the people. And I didn't really care about the Lord all that much. And I even got baptized in it. And I'm not saying that I never cared about the Lord. I definitely always felt like a little tug. But I was one of those, like, Jesus is pulling at me, I'm going to push him off kind of guy. And so going to church is great. That's a community. That's religion. To make that community be as abundant and as life-giving and fulfilling as it can be, your relationship with the Lord has to be your numero uno. It needs to be. I fully believe cultivating your relationship with the Lord obviously makes your relationship with others within the community that also are trying to follow the Lord. Hey, why wouldn't that be better? It's like if you were on a basketball team and all your friends are like, dude, I love playing basketball. I practice every day, even outside of practice. Like outside of organized practice, I go home and I hoop. And you're the one guy who's like, I never play basketball. Hey, those guys don't love that. You wouldn't love that either if one of your teammates had so much potential being a basketball player and they just never practiced because they didn't care. But they liked you, so you hung around practice. Like, it's kind of loose, but it makes sense up here, and that's what this is. So, like I said, let's get back in. Striving to understand God's character as a father, a friend, a provider, etc., is what leads you to real life change, and that opens your eyes to what all he has done for you. When you learn God's character, and what he wants for you in life through his character, you start hearing his voice. And when hearing his voice is a relative term, when you understand God's character, you'll be able to receive from him better. Whether that's how I feel, like a lot more like intuition-led, like spirit-led intuition, whether that's, who knows? Maybe you get the voice in your head. That leads you to hearing and receiving. And when you start learning what that voice really sounds like and what receiving looks like and what things you receive and that's when you start seeing what the gifts are. That's when you become aware. You are finally, you become aware of the way God kind of moves. In the way of like, I'm now aware to whatever human capacity it is, which is so much infinitely lower than whatever the Lord has capacity of. I am now aware at a human capacity of how God interacts in my life in some way, form, or fashion. So with that in mind, think of it, striving to understand God's character as a father, friend, or a provider, and a provider is what leads you to real life change, and that opens your eyes to what all he has done for you. When you finally get there, for me, it took devastation. It took devastation for me to finally go, oh my gosh, I get it. It hit me. Like I remember when it hit me. I'll tell the story because I believe it has power, but not negative power over me. I was in the darkest place of my life. I was I was in a depressive state. I would say that I was battling with depression. I was suicidal. I had finally kind of made my mind up that suicide was my choice, was my option. And I don't think of it lightly now when it comes to like that happening to me. I openly talk about it because I feel like the Lord has fully redeemed me and the Lord fully saved my life. And I've been dealing with it for honestly not super long when I had decided to give up. I did this weird projection in my life where I was like, oh, this is going down. And the chart goes lower than I thought it could. Rock bottom. When I hit rock bottom, I was like, oh, how am I still going down? How is there more past this? But I remember I had work. I don't know how I kept the job. I don't know how I kept my friends. I would go to church and I would go through the motions and I would cry my way through my days and through my nights. And I was lucky enough to have people who love me, and I was lucky enough to be honest with these people and tell them everything except for the fact that I was planning on committing suicide. It's such a strong thing, and I feel bad for just bringing up an episode when I know that like I feel so confident speaking openly of it, but I know others feel so I'll be honest, I still struggle with suicidal thoughts. Like it is still a thing. Once it is an option, it is always an option. And I think there's a chance that I may deal with this until the day I die. Throughout my life. And I still believe the Lord is fully redeeming me. But that's not the point. I remember the day when I felt like my eyes were really opened. I was in my shower getting ready for work. I did the bare minimum taking care of myself during this time. And I remember I was temporarily living alone and in someone else's apartment while they were gone for months. And I remember I got in the shower getting ready for work and I was just crying and I was so pissed. And I'd been yelling at God and I'd been cussing at God and I just blamed him. If I wasn't yelling and cussing at him, I was ignoring him. And I don't mean like I was forgetting to pray. I was actively not praying. I was specifically going out of my way not to. And so I remember being in the shower, just blank stare at the wall, water. And all of a sudden I go, you didn't do this to me. I remember just talking to God and saying, you didn't do this to me. And that was life-changing. That is the moment I fully believe that the Lord redeemed me. That's when that process started. Like when he saw me laying down and just like silently screaming, help me. Even though I was being so mean and cruel to him. He showed me so much love in that moment where I just finally hit the realization where I was like, you didn't do this to me. And I was like, I'm so sorry for yelling at you and for blaming you and cussing at you and all of it. And that's when from that moment, I remember looking back at my life and going, I'm so lucky. Not only to be alive, but to have what I have, to do what I do, to be in the position I'm in. Even when I hate it, I am still sometimes able to look at myself and go, even when I'm having a bad time, hate it's a strong word. Even when I'm having a bad time, I'm able to look at it sometimes and go, I'm so lucky just to have the opportunity to be here. Even when I have a bad day at work, I'll still go, I'm so lucky to have a job. I'm so lucky to have a job and be able to work and be able to provide for myself in some way. And so striving to understand God's character as Father, friend, provider is what leads you to real life change that opens your eyes to what all he's done for you. And that moment was that for me. I finally saw God as a friend. I finally looked back on my life and I saw God as a provider. And then I finally felt all that love, and I was like, you are a father. Like that is, if I had to describe God in relational terms, it would be friend, father, provider. And I know that we're probably not supposed to do that. I know that's probably not the vibes. Those are my personal vibes. I don't, inconsequential, as some would say. So here's a question that I pose to myself, and it's, how am I supposed to be grateful for what I don't see as a gift? Like I said earlier, life is a gift, love is a gift, people are gifts, things are gifts, peace is a gift, joy is a gift. But how am I supposed to be grateful when I don't see it as a gift? That question is why it is so important to understand that God is our access. That question. Let me see how I exactly wrote it. That question is why it is so important to understand that God is our access to everything. God is the reason we wake up, the reason we breathe, and the reason we even are. Remember. I read this. I read a book. I know it's surprising, great, and you read a book. Congrats. I didn't listen to the book on an audio tape. I read the book. It's called Preach to Yourself. It was very good. It's about this. It's about the practice of like understanding that when you write a sermon, what you feel obviously led to preach about is what you struggle with the most. And I just want to tell you guys, when I write, I'm obviously basically giving you a look inside of my journal, inside of my diary. I'm preaching to myself. I'm yelling at myself. Great, and it's so important to understand that God is our access to everything. He's the reason we wake up. He's the reason. He's the reason that we are breathing, and He's the reason that we even are. How can things not be a gift when He's the reason that we even are? And with that, you look back at the verse, naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will return there. The Lord gives and the Lord takes away. May the name of the Lord be blessed. I have a little section here that I wrote that really felt like it wrapped it up for me mentally. And it says, gratitude is extremely difficult. But once we start delving into who God is and what He says that He wants for us, it is just part of the deal. When you take time to sit with the Lord and have a real relationship with Him, you will truly understand how weak and fragile we are as humans. It shows you how helpful the Lord really is in our big moments and even something as little as our day-to-day lives. Gratitude is achieved by developing awareness, which is achieved through the learning and understanding of who God is and what He openly says He wants for us. Abundant life. That's pretty good. That feels like a great reminder for myself. Gratitude is achieved by developing awareness, which is achieved through the learning and understanding of who God is and what He openly says He wants for us, which is abundant life. If you made it this far, thank you very much. I appreciate you. I am grateful for you. I have a lot of gratitude for you. I love you. And I don't say that super like willy-nilly. I say that because I do. I love and hate people. I think people are the best and the worst thing God has ever created. But I think loving people is such an important part of our daily lives. And most of my joy is found in loving others. And so I just can't stress the importance of how much I love you guys. I really do appreciate everyone who sits and takes the time to delve into these with me and to allow me to process through these things and allow me to just talk my head off, because it is important to me, and you taking the time to listen to me about something that's important to me means the world. So thank you so much. I hope that you guys get anything from this the way that I feel like I have spiritually grown, emotionally grown. I personally feel as though I am in love with this project that I'm working on. This is a beautiful thing that I feel like the Lord has led me to do. So thank you.